But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Hello, Bitcoiners. It's Will from Libra. Quick heads up, next week we're going to switch to weekly updates. So make sure that if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, or check out our blog so that you can know when we post our updates. That said, here's your update for Friday, June 26th. American Banker has come out with a positive editorial piece talking about how the Bitcoin blockchain beats out its competitors. Most notably, it compares it to Ethereum and talks about how the Bitcoin blockchain has been selected by the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ for pilot studies. No thanks, we will skip this article. And also how Ethereum has been funded for $18.4 million, but has fallen short on the numbers of features it's been promised by the project's directors. The Greece Prime Minister has said no soup for you to EU creditors today, rejecting the latest proposal that they've presented to him. Basically, they offered an additional $1.7 billion in interest they had gained from sovereign debt bonds that they held, and the Prime Minister said, no, we're not going to take it. Basically, when he came to power, it was under the promise that he wouldn't make any more concessions in terms of raising VAT or doing things like changing pensions and stuff like that. And the EU creditors want to see those types of changes. So they are at quite the stalemate. We're looking at a possible default on Tuesday of next week, and no doubt that will play into volatile markets over the weekend. A new Goldman Sachs survey is out stating that most millennials won't use Bitcoin. 51% of 752 survey respondents said that they had never used Bitcoin, nor do they have any plans to do so. This title is a little misleading, however, because it fails to note that there are going to be applications, and there already are applications, where people might not even realize that they're using Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin price action. Today we're going to look at the weekly. And basically there's just been a bunch of crazy stuff that's been happening, really going all the way back to the 20th. So let's switch over to the technical side of things though. So we have a little bit of subjective banter with Greece and stuff like that. It's definitely swinging the market a bit, making the price volatile. But from a technical side, let's just look at where we're at in terms of the channels and whatnot. So you can see that going back to about halfway through the 20th, around midday, we have this channel between 240, and that extends one into a channel that's around 245. So we see that one. We see where we've tested that 1, 2, broken out on the third, came back down, tested it a fourth, and then continued all the way back down 240. So that was 240 to 245. Then we did have a little slight breakout going back to the 23rd that took us all the way up to around 248. That pivoted pretty quickly. All the action that we saw there was really just in the context of about 24 hours, where we went from 245 to 248. There definitely was a lot of weight on that pulled us back down into this 240 to 245 range. Now there's definitely some concerns about where we're headed going into this weekend. There's a lot of selling pressure. There's a lot of signs that we are going to go lower than 240. Taking the fundamentals into consideration, taking rumors and stuff over the weekend out the window, we have really a big head and shoulders going back to the 21st through the 24th that fell through, took us all the way down to 240. Since then, we had a double top. You can see it right here that pretty much is getting close to falling through as of today. That started with that pivot on the 25th. It also came back down and tested on the 26th, and then is also doing even another one, arguably, in recent hours, and you can see where we've ticked back down heading in today. Also note that The volume's a little funky. Also, it's falling a bit heading into the middle of today. So, bottom line, we're definitely at the support level of this channel between 240 and 245 that goes back to around the 20th. It's really having a lot of trouble taking up off of that, coming back into the channel. So my recommendation would be to really protect yourself and set your stops right around 240. If you don't already have them set there, maybe 239, something like that. Because as you see how large some of these candles are, really in just one tick it could go well past 240 down to 238, something like that. And you notice how, just in the context of say from the 23rd to the 24th, just look at the selling pressure and how fast that can go down before you might see some support that's going to allow you to take another good opening position if you're not in fact shorting. If you are shorting, take that in mind to your advantage. Look how fast that moved, going from say the 23rd right there at approximately a high of 248 down to midday through the 24th, all the way down to 238.91. This is on Bitstamp. So a lot of stuff happening. Let's watch this 240. Have a great weekend. Happy trading. To the moon.